Hello, this is Jim, my wife Carla,
Yes.
and another episode of the journey of life, love, and lessons.
Yes. And so we're very excited to be able to have this episode with you. We have an incredible guest that I will introduce, but we'll get to know her a little bit more throughout this episode. She's amazing, a lot of great talents, and God is doing great things in her life. And so we'll get to know her more throughout this episode. But I want to give you a little bit of an introduction about Beverly. So Beverly is a graduate of Ashbury College, Wilmore, Kentucky, with a BA in voice performance, Master of Music from Michigan State University, emphasis in choral conducting with additional training in a voice and piano. She has performed with the local arts chorale as well as a longtime member with the national known Christmas production under the direction of Thurlow and Kathy Spur. She has served as a musician and vocalist in local churches. Currently, Beverly teaches private piano and voice lessons, choir accompanist, and private voice instructor for local schools. She has recorded 2 vocal CDs. One is an Everyday Masterpiece, and the second one is Jesus is Enough. And those are great things. So we want to welcome Beverly to our episode. We are so excited to have you here. You are amazing, and we got to know a little bit about you. So we're glad you're here.
Well, good. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, we got to meet you a little bit through a program that we both do together. So it's been great to get to know you, and God has a lot of great gifts and talents that's within you that, you know, as anybody should, we're all developing throughout the years. And I believe that, you know, you have really discovered, you know, what God has put within you so that you are really making a difference. You know, the piano, the music, I think is close to God's heart. You know, I believe that is something that is something that speaks to us, maybe even when people don't listen to a message, they don't go to church or something, they can still hear a part of God, I think, through your skills and the talents of, you know, the vocal and pianist. So what has been like a starting point for you that you kind of realized, well, this is something I'm interested in?
When I was young, my parents started me in piano lessons. I was 5 years old and started me in piano. So that was the beginning of my music journey. And my family was basically musical. My mom played piano, and my mom and dad both could sing. My dad is a retired minister from United Methodist Church, so music was always a part of what we did in the church setting. So I just took off from there. Junior high, late elementary, junior high, got involved in the band. So I played clarinet and joined the choir. So I've been doing music my whole life. I've been doing music in one way or another. Yeah. So yeah, and I stuck with it, you know.
Yeah, just kind of developed. So it's something that came more natural to you, you know, because your parents do it, you know. So it's kind of like something that's, you know, it's just been familiar to, you know, and you just kind of developed it as you went throughout your childhood, into school, and now as a profession. So that is, you know, a good path to be on.
I played clarinet for 1 year. I played clarinet in elementary school.
Very good. Very good.
Played in 5th or 6th grade, and then after that, I was like, I'm done with it. I wanted to play saxophone.
Okay. Well, you should have been, I guess, if that's what you really wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to play saxophone, but you know, it was an educational type of thing. I learned with the music and all that kind of stuff. And you know, with Carla, she's done a lot of music type of things. So
good.
Yeah, some people play by ear, so that's kind of like how I did the piano. I played by ear, but I love the drums. That's something I like to do. Is the drum set.
You did what? I'm sorry. What did you say?
The drum set. I said that's what I like to play. I play the piano by ear. I'm not like, you know, like you do. I don't do the notes and stuff like that, but I have picked it up by ear on the piano. But I played the drums growing up with my family, so that's kind of something that we did growing up as well.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. You know, music is it teaches you all kinds of things. You know,
Yes.
There have been studies done, what music does to your brain, how it helps develop certain aspects of thinking and creativity. But the other part of music is what a discipline that it can bring to your life, which I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Yeah, discipline would be one thing with it, because I remember just in being young and have to practice all the time over and over.
Yeah.
You know, because we had to do a parade. In a parade, we had to learn how to memorize the notes for a song, and we played over and over. And practicing that would took some time, and just also the physicalness of, you know, playing the clarinet, just to keep your jaws in, not look like a big balloon, and and all that type of stuff. You know, it took a while to learn how to do that, but once I got used to it and more comfortable with it, then I was able to not have to look at edge of place my fingers all the time. I could learn that, but it took a while to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess with you, you know, is there multiple instruments that you can play?
Well, I used to play the clarinet. I haven't picked it up in several years. Piano, and I sing. So I guess really that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a certain style, you know, preference? Everybody's got, you know, different styles of different, you know, authors of music that they prefer. Is there a certain style that you prefer? I know you can teach different things, but as far as your preference, that you like to play on a piano, something like that? Is there something that speaks more to you?
Oh, okay. On the piano, I can play, like I play for the school. So we get to play classical pieces, or what we call standard literature if I'm going to accompany somebody. But in church, because I go to a non-traditional style of worship service, we play contemporary styles, and I kind of hang out with the Word of Faith Pentecostal people. So we do a lot of by ear, and a lot of what we might call worship, you know, like open worship, and you worship God. So you worship God with how you play, which is what I really love. I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like the freedom of the worship to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can bring a lot of little creativity out in what you're doing that. Because I remember what influenced me in music when I was in elementary school was they had some professional musicians come to the school, and they just start playing, and then we'll say the instructor of them, or the director of it, just said, you know, they're going to be playing, but they're going to be playing from their heart, what they hear in their mind. And it was just awesome in how they could do it. And that's where I got the saxophone, because the saxophone for me was, you know, it can be a romantic type of thing, like a love type of music type of thing, or it could be more upbeat, like a rock type of, and in between there. And the person that was doing it, was just like all over. And I was like, oh, wow, I'd love to be able to do that. You know, so probably when you're dealing with, you know, the church and things, you know, over time, you do you have those times where you just, you know, you can play something that goes along with the mood or where you're feeling and stuff like that?
Yes. I was in a church situation, and the worship leader and I could communicate without talking, and I could follow her in what we call that open worship, and just let her kind of lead, and then I would lead. And it's the creativity. It's part of what you were describing as improvisation, but the improvisation didn't come from my mind. It came from my spirit, because it was Holy Spirit led.
Right.
So jazz has that improvisation element to it. But when you do worship before the Lord, and you just sing out of your heart,
right,
and you worship out of your heart, that's where that comes from. And that is directly from the source of creativity.
Right.
So it's quite a wonderful thing. It does help to know what key you're in. It does help to know how to move through all the chords in a key. So that's part of your training.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Carla, you said you like to play by ear on the piano,
Mhm.
but you get to hear how the chords move.
Right.
So if you were to pull out a book and kind of show you what chords look like, you go, oh, that's why I do that.
Yeah.
That's why I, you know, I play things the way I do. So it's either learning by ear and then going back and studying the music theory, or here's music theory. Now let's see if you can be creative and kind of expand off from that, which is the improvisation that Jim was talking about. Yeah.
And I believe, you know, with either one, I think if you express it from your heart, I think it brings freedom, you know, especially when it comes from the source of God. You know, you're able to communicate, like you said, with the other person who's playing the instrument, because God, you know, has us in unity. So you're speaking that language of worship, and you know, that just it brings something that we just can't really do in our natural. You know, we just, you know, it just flows so good and so easy with that creativity, but also with your knowledge that you have in order to do it.
Right. And it becomes prophetic.
Yeah.
You know, prophetic, people have a different kind of understanding of what that means. But prophetic is speaking what God's saying.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be a word of knowledge or the future, which is what some people relate that to, but it's speaking what God's saying, and the Holy Spirit leads you into that.
Right.
It's a very wonderful, intimate time. Even in a group setting, you can become like in your own little circle there and worship God.
Right. So is there like a transition? I know, like you can play by ear, and that's the only thing I do. So how do you transition? You know, is there like just a mindset you have to do? Like, okay, now I'm used to my notes. Well, now I'm going to flow freely, you know, and just playing in worship. Is there like a transition that you feel in your heart, your spirit, or just in how you're thinking, you know, like kind of like not just notes, but then also get into that rhythm of, and you know, creativity that God has?
What I do, you know, if we kind of finished up a song and we're kind of repeating a little piece, sometimes I'll just take a little chord structure, like 2 or 3 chords, and just play them back and forth, add the notes in between, you know, and do it that way, and then let it go from there.
Right.
And out of that sometimes comes its own little melody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then move out from there and add another chord to it. And if you have other musicians, then you take turns leading that what I call open worship. So it's not just the pianist. You know, if I have a guitar player or an organist or something else, even a saxophone, if Jim was there, I would let him lead out, you know, because we would have eye communication, and I could see in his eye, I've got something. I've got something to play. You know, because we're worshiping God. We're not playing for the people there. We're playing for the Lord. And so we would communicate, and then I would let him lead, and I would back off, or whoever. So yeah. So that's church playing.
Yeah.
You know, in my world.
Yeah, that's perfect. You know, just to be able to flow into that. I mean, it's perfect because God's giving you the skills, and then that helps you to flow into the worship that He has for you at that time. So I think that's, you know, perfect, you know, communication with the other people that's flowing as well. So I think that's, you know, a great way of sharing and explaining that.
And with teaching, you have students you teach, is that correct? You teach piano as well?
Yeah, yeah, I teach a variety of type of students. I teach kids in school, and then I have students that find me from different sites that I'm on where I advertise, you know, being a music teacher. So I don't teach church music. I teach I teach standard literature. You know, in the classical world, we might sing a pop song if it's that time of year in the school where, okay, everybody gets to choose a pop song or a theater song, and we learn that. Yeah, so I do a variety of things with them, but I always want to instill in them confidence and the fact that they have a gift, and it's okay to work at it, and this is how we work at it. And so they can walk out of my studio or walk out of their lesson and know how to go home and practice.
Right.
So that's part of what I do. That's a snapshot.
Yeah. 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 And is it challenging to teach? What ages do you teach? Is it like a certain range that you have, or
I have
like
students,
youngest? What
my
would be your
youngest, I've had 5 and 6 year olds, and I have adults right now.
mhm.
Um, um, Currently I have several voice students, young adults,
Right.
and I have a young adult piano student.
Mhm.
So always want, so this is what I hear. Well, I had choir when I was in high school,
Right.
and I really enjoyed it. I would like to get back into it.
Mhm.
Or my piano students, gosh, I kind of hated piano when my mom made me take it, but I think I really enjoy it and I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
And even adults that say, I always wanted to and I never did. So we're starting from scratch. We're starting from not knowing anything, teaching them how to read, a little
Yeah.
bit about music theory, and how to listen and play by ear.
Yeah.
So I try to do both
Yeah.
with
Kind of
my
like
students.
helping them to untap. Sometimes we can only go as far as we know to go. So then we have to have people like you, to bring that out to, like, okay, you can do that. Like you're saying, you're sharing, the techniques, you're sharing the discipline that it takes to do this. And so they have to be willing to follow that. But, you are
Mhm.
helping them to see something beyond what they can see themselves. Okay. I
Right.
did piano lessons at 5. Well, now I love it, and if I follow these steps. And so that's great that that you can help them become more, even if it's for a hobby, or whether it's
Sure.
professional, it's something that still you're teaching them, with excellence on things, that the process that it takes for them to be able to
Right.
step more to just an interest, or even a professional thing that they want to step into.
Right, right. One of the things that I found in the last couple years, going back into the school system, and one thing I do, very first lesson, we sit down and I say, tell me a little bit about yourself and what are your goals for being here for voice lesson? And then I tell them a little bit about me.
Mhm.
And one thing that I heard last year that really took to my heart was the fact they said, last year I used to cry every time I had a lesson, or I have anxiety, all those different things. And I thought, oh my gosh, what an opportunity to to um to feed into somebody's life.
Right.
You know, I can't be a minister, so to speak. I'm in public school. But what an opportunity to build something to help them know how valuable they are.
Right.
You are valuable. You
Right.
have a gift. So let's work on that.
Right.
If we make a mistake, that's okay. We're here. This is our laboratory. That's what I call it. We're here to make mistakes in the practice room. This is what we do. We make mistakes and we learn how to figure things out.
Yeah.
And so that was just like my big goal last year,
Yeah.
was instilling confidence and self-value
Yeah.
into my students.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love that about you. I mean, because that is so many people. I mean, because people can go to church and hear a message, but it's that one-on-one, like you're doing. You have a heart, like, okay, I cried last time, when I had to do lessons, and you're like, bring them that comfort, that safe place, and like, okay, we got this. If
mhm,
you make mistakes, it's okay. And so, a lot of
mhm,
people need that. They need that. And yeah, say we can not be as much so-called like ministers in the church or in the school, but you are ministering still.
Oh, yes.
It's just a different way that they're relating to, and they need it so much. And it seems like
mhm.
more and more in this world, they need exactly what you're giving. And you're not just teaching them
They-
music, but you're teaching them how to love themselves and how to know that they can be,
mhm.
more of a person they want to be.
Right, right. Because even that is just a seed. The
Hmm.
Lord didn't say how to plant the seed
Right.
or in what way. We don't plant a seed just in church. We plant a seed. Our job is to be out in the world.
Right.
That's the that's the big deal to me right now.
Yes.
I'm out in the world doing what I got to do and giving people confidence and instilling that value so that they're going to come back and say, you know, Miss Beverly, I just really appreciate what you did. And so that gives an opportunity. Then you can share if you have that opportunity to share the gospel. Or maybe somebody in a few years is going to be able to really talk to them about the Lord. I'm just planting a seed.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah,
that's my job. The Lord always brings the harvest. You're just seed planting and helping, because maybe I'll get someone who's already had a seed.
Right.
And now I have an opportunity to help them come and have a better life. So
right.
And you know, here, and I guess a lot of people can have, they have ways, sometimes they have trouble talking to express themselves. But when they go to singing or playing music, that helps makes it easier for them to express or work through things that they may be dealing with.
Right.
I mean, have you seen that and kind of seen people that come in with like you're saying, with the anxiety, but they're able to sing or play something that helps bring calmness to them?
Release that, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a particular situation, but I think by the lessons and by the music, it's helping them to come out of themselves and then to talk. Some of the I usually have mostly girls, when I go into school. Every once in a while I have a young man. But the girls, all of a sudden, they're talking to me about things. So yes, maybe that's a yes answer on that.
That is a yes answer. Yeah. And
because they feel comfortable with me. Yeah. I'm not going to judge them,
right?
For what they tell me. Right. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Learn those words. It's interesting.
Yeah. But to help them feel comfortable in that situation, that they can trust me. Trust is a big thing. If they can't trust me, then I'm not able to speak into their life.
Right.
So. Because we know of a young man that was going through a rough time in his younger life, and with a lot of issues, and he had a lot of tragedies in his life at a younger time, and and his mother was there with him and everything but the thing to help him make it through life and get through things was music. Singing.
Yes.
And now he's, that has become a passion of him, and he does it, and he's being very successful at it right now. But he said music saved his life.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I believe music does speak to our hearts. Like I said, I believe that's very important, to God's heart, to have that music, to have that connection, to have a relationship, and everybody's got their preference and styles, but there's something there in those words that can touch you when they won't go listen to a message. Okay, I can express myself in song. I can express myself in playing in music. And so I believe that God speaks through that. And I believe he speaks through you, whether it's just giving them comfort, letting them know that they can trust you. I mean, that right there is huge, and then you teach music along with that,
Right.
So it's great.
Right. I remember a situation several years ago. I was asked to sing at a friend's wedding vow renewal. It was a big party they had at a hotel, banquet room, and they asked me to sing the Lord's Prayer.
Oh.
So I got all dressed up, long gown, kind of like the one you wore, Carla. I remember that beautiful gown you had for your award. And it kind of reminded me of the one I had, made my husband rent a tux, it was kind of fancy. Saying the Lord's Prayer. And I had this beautiful friend come up afterwards and said, Beverly, that was amazing. You were just so anointed. And it was like I was speaking the word of God. And it's the standard Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven. So I'm not sure why I said that, but it was the fact that, you could, music speaks, and if you let it, just something as classical and standard as the Lord's Prayer, you can use that and just minister however you want, or speak into somebody's life.
Right.
So through that.
Yeah.
I had another story in mind, but I can't remember it now. So I'll think of
it. That does happen at times, doesn't it? We do the same
it.
thing.
Does, yeah. Yeah.
So has there been like a highlight? I mean, that sounds like a highlight for you. Was there something, that stands out to you in your profession? So is there something that you can remember, maybe an incident or just a song? I know you said that one. I don't know if a student had done something or sang something or played something that maybe helped them to feel the same as you, to feel like they was inspired.
Not at the moment. I can't think of that, but I was with, when you were reading my bio, I was with a Christmas production for 13 years. And for several years, I played a certain character. We had our last act was always a Bible story, and it was about the birth of Christ, told in a different way. And I had a character for several years. I was Serena. I was the woman at the well. And we had the song that we sang. And I tell you what, every time I sang that song, the Holy Spirit ministered to me. I mean, so I really could carry that character, and it was fresh every time. It wasn't me just practicing the moves and so even on stage, you can do that. And there was another song in that show that was like that, a song that we did for several years about how we lay our lives down at the feet of Jesus.
Right.
And we lay all of our accomplishments before him, because they're not ours. They're his, because we did it for him. Right. Every time, I tell you, I would cry. So I really got the point across to the audience, because it was very real.
Yeah.
So I hope that I can do that for my students. Right. So that does remind me. So to answer your question, when students are getting ready for a performance, I said, okay, you have the song memorized. We know the words. We know the notes. Your job is to take that song and communicate it to the audience so they know what it's about. So that way it takes the pressure off of them. I'm nervous, am I going to do okay? But your job is to take the words and the melody and to make it reach all the way into your audience. Now, these are secular songs. This is standard literature that we do for school.
Right.
But I tell you, you take that and you apply it in the right way. Right. And that's just an amazing thing right there.
Yeah. Like you say, it takes the pressure off of them. And so they're able to, have that, maybe the emotions or the tone they need, the melody that they need to be able to communicate with them. And so they'll be more effective, more impacting, as you're saying, as you're teaching them, they're learning that I can inspire with my words and with my song.
Right. Yeah. And it's been pretty effective for them.
Yeah.
So
that's good. That's good.
And so you do that in church, in a church setting. I've had, hey, Beverly, will you come and sing a special for Christmas? Right. So I come and do that. And it's the same thing. If you think about what you're really saying. And and what I really want to do is I want to walk off the platform and I want to come right down, because I want to talk to people when I sing. Right. And I've just noticed that the Lord has been doing that with me in the last couple of years. What I really want to do, come off the platform and just come right down and sing to the people and let the words take their effect. Right. And let it mean something.
Right. That's kind of how Jesus did, when he would teach in the Bible, when he would teach the people, what would he do? He mingled with the people. He got there in front of them and said, come to me, so he didn't like up here on a pedestal. So it is more relatable. So it's, that's the way it sounds like that God's moved on you as well, to be connection, to be, to be able to here with you, understand what I'm trying to inspire you with, and that God's trying to inspire through you. So it's kind of like, same thing that Jesus did. He kind of draw the people into him. He was right there with them. So that's awesome. He's doing that. So we are getting to wrap up.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would like to share? You got any kind of CDs that we would love to share with the people that you can tell them about?
Oh, sure. I have 2 CDs. This was my first one, called An Everyday Masterpiece. And this one I did a couple years ago, called Jesus is Enough.
That's cool.
So these are 2 things that I've done. Kind of interesting stories behind that. I took myself. I decided to do it. Nobody asked me. But I took myself down to Daywind Studios. It's a Christian recording down in Hendersonville, Tennessee, basically Nashville.
Right.
And I said, I want to do this. It's something I've always wanted to do. So I did it. Chose my own songs, practiced. I didn't have a coach, so I just did it on my own. And I think they turned out pretty good.
Okay. And how can
So,
people connect with you? You have a Facebook
sure.
or something they can connect with you to maybe get some?
Sure. Yep. You can connect with me on Facebook at Beverly Finch. That's just my personal page. I do have a website, B Finch. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. bfinchmusic.com. www.bfinchmusic.com. You can connect there. You can order a CD off of that. So,
yeah. And we encourage, all the viewers that's listening, she's amazing. She's very skilled, and God has put this talent within her. So, reach out to her, get their good gifts for you to listen to feed your own self, but also gifts, Christmas, for holidays and stuff coming up, time to stock up on those gifts. So, maybe get some and share them with your coworkers or someone else, and let God speak to the message and the words that God has, developed inside of a Beverly that can be impacting others together to be able to share, that music, that talent, the words. And sometimes we can listen to something, and somebody else can listen to something, but God speaks to us on the level and where we're at in our season, in our life. So reach out to her, and check out those videos. I'm sure you'll be blessed with them.
And I have one more question.
Sure.
Just came to mind here, and be able to teach and doing your music and singing and stuff like that, teaching. Now, someone watched this and wanted to get with you. Can they get with you through your website and your Facebook page as well?
Sure. Yep. You can message me on Facebook through Messenger, or just a direct, hey, Beverly. Or on my website, there's a contact page. You can fill that in, and it'll send it to me. Especially if you live in the area. I like to do in-person lessons a lot. So glad to have someone join me. Pardon?
What area are you at?
Oh, I live near Lansing, Michigan. So, okay. Right there, capital of Michigan. I live right there, around there. Yeah. So love to have somebody join me and get to know you a little bit, teach you some good music, whatever style you like. Doesn't matter. Jazz, Broadway, theater,
lip syncing,
church music. No, I can't teach saxophone, Jim. Sorry.
Well, how about lip syncing?
Lip syncing. Sure. I could try that for a change.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit different.
Good.
I'll probably sound best that way.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're one of those. Okay.
She's probably had a few of your students. I was like,
yeah.
But we are so glad that you are here. We have been blessed to get to know you, be a part of each other's life, at times. And to be able to have you on here to share with other people that God has put within you, and the skills and talents that God has put within you, so that you can share with others. And so we do encourage the people, the viewers, if you know somebody else other than yourself that may be interested in getting some around Michigan area, that could go in person, and be blessed by her gifts and talents, to feel like, that whether it's a hobby or whether it's something professional, something that interests you had, I'm sure she can help you, in whatever area that is. So is there any last words you like to speak with the viewers, some inspiration, or just some words you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think so. Out of the book of Philippians, chapter 1, Paul is writing to the people there, and he talks about being excellent and being full of righteousness. Righteousness is excellence, and for them to keep pursuing and to not be afraid of changing and being the best that you can be. So I would just like to leave people with that. So you can be the best you can be. And I just want to encourage folks with that today.
That's good.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's great words of wisdom. And I think the people today is kind of like they don't feel like they're good enough in themselves. Well, God has given each one of us different skills and abilities and talents. So be who God created you to be, develop and discover and, put those into action. And so those are great words of wisdom to leave with.
If I may, just another minute.
Yeah, sure.
The title of my first CD was An Everyday Masterpiece.
I love that.
And you'll find that the songs on this CD are about who you are and how valuable you are and who God really created you to be. He did not make junk. He did not make average Joes. He made a masterpiece. And unfortunately, people think that they're average. Oh, I'm just average. I'm not good at this, not good at that. But you are. Right. So I want to encourage everyone, take the time to find out what you really like and don't be afraid to give it a try.
Yeah.
Find someone, if you have to, find someone who can help you. Right. Whatever your interests are. If it's mechanics, if it's things that I don't know how to do. If it's not music, then I probably don't know. I could probably help you cook. But if there's something that's in your heart that you really want to do, go for it. Find someone who can help you, because that's your gift that's been put inside of you to make this world a better place. And so I encourage you to do that. You are a masterpiece. Be a masterpiece. Okay.
Yes. I love that.
That's good.
Very good. It's awesome words. And I know you share that in your life. You share that with yourself, developing yourself and with others as well. And I know this is a lifestyle for you. It's not something that you just get on here and say, but you absolutely live this in your daily life. So that makes it even more impacting. And we're so thankful that you are a part of the show episode. So we are very thankful that you're here, and we will be getting this word out, as many people as we can, and so they can come and contact you and get a hold of that, because I know I want one of those CDs, so I'll be contacting you as well. So
okay, good.
So you are a blessing, and it is an honor to have you on this show. So we are looking forward to connecting more, but we want to thank our viewers for being a part of the Journey of Life, Love, and Lessons talk show, and for being, a supporter and encourager for all that God has. So we like, share, and follow, and that way that we can impact lives together. So we are so thankful that we have Beverly Finch on here with us, and thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.